afternoon, Lake. Welcome to Lunch Bites. I'm Pastor Rich. I'm the lead pastor here at Lake Missionary Church, and we're so glad that you joined us today. You know, there's a thing that we ought to think about, a thing that we should always consider, the thing that should be in the back of our minds. And the younger we are, the less we think about it, but really the younger we are, the more we should prepare for it. And that one thing is death. And death we should always be prepared for, because that's what ultimately we're all going to face if the Lord tarries. The writer of Ecclesiastes writes it this way. He says, "It is better to go to a house of mourning than to go to a house of feasting. For death is the destiny of everyone. The living should take this to heart." So he says that death is the destiny of everyone. We are all going to face death. As long as Christ tarries and doesn't return to earth, we are all going to face death. But then he goes on to say that that's our destiny. But then he says, the living should take this to heart. What does that mean? What does it mean to take this to heart? And it means we need to understand that we are mortal and that we are going to pass away. These bodies are going to pass away, and they're going to be replaced by some heavenly body, some perfect body. And we've got descriptions of what that is like. You know, the descriptions like there'll be no more tears, there'll be no more sorrows, no more crying, no more pain, no more hurt. You know, these things. And you know, as you get older and you go through life, you know, pains start to crop up. You know, our knees and our backs and our hips and our elbows and wrists and fingers, and you know, everything starts to hurt, and these bodies start to break down. And what the writer here is saying is that we need to prepare and take this to heart. Even while we're young, we need to take this to heart. I remember for me, it used to be kind of this thought pattern of, you know, hey, I'm only in my 20s, and I've got a long way to go, and you know, no need to be thinking about death and preparing for death. However, now that I'm 50, death is a lot closer. And as I think about that and I prepare for that, I start to think, okay, so how do I prepare myself for this ultimate this ultimate destiny that we have, which is death? We're all going to face that. And some of the things that, as I think about it, that we have to do, or that I have to do, is number one, I should always be prepared and ready for that moment. And that's hard sometimes to think about, but what does that look like, to be prepared and ready for that moment? Well, number one, it means that you are right with Christ. You have accepted Christ. You've accepted Him into your life, and you're living your life holy and pleasing for Him. I talk about Romans 12, 1 and 2 all the time, and that's the key to being prepared for that moment. We offer our bodies as living sacrifices, and we allow Christ to transform our lives. And if Christ is transforming our lives, we will be prepared for that moment. And some of you that are listening to this are, you know, you're young, and you're like, well, it's going to be a long time before I die or anything like that. I don't have to face this. But we have to remember that God said that no one is promised tomorrow. And that's the second part of the mindset that we have to have, is that we really don't know if tomorrow will come. We really don't know if tomorrow will happen, because we're not promised it. God never says, I'm going to give you tomorrow. So the challenge for you today is to be prepared for that moment. It's not something where we dwell on death. We're just prepared for it, because we're going to face it at some point in some time. And we have hope in that Christ died for us. So the challenge for today is to be prepared for that moment. And maybe you don't know Christ yet. Maybe you're not prepared for that moment. Well, you can be prepared in this moment for death, and that's by accepting Christ as your Savior. It's about praying a prayer, but more importantly, it's about repenting, turning away from what you know is right and wrong, and turning to God to transform your life, to share and teach what is right and wrong. So maybe today you're struggling with that and you're wrestling with that and you want to be ready for that moment. Well, if that's you, reach out to us. Leave us a message. Send a private message through Messenger, or you can email the church. We've given you the email address. You can just church@lmcangola.org, and we can really reach out and make connection with you. And that's what we want to do. That's what we are here to do, is to help you in your walk. And maybe you've already accepted Christ, but you're struggling in life. You're just struggling with this walk and the journey you're on, and we can help with that too. We really want you to reach out also. So wherever you're at in life, we want to help you walk through it. We want to help you to be prepared for that moment. So that's my challenge for you today. As we move on, we look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Have a great Monday.